Welcome back to another episode of the Deep Dive English podcast. My name is Sam,
My name is Anna.
and today Anna's going to be asking me some questions about how I became an English teacher. So, do you have an initial question, Anna, or should I maybe talk about the origin story, maybe?
Uh, well, I just thought about asking you if you have ever considered being, because I know it wasn't your initial plan to be an English teacher, but have you ever considered before being a teacher in general?
I think I might have had a few ideas about becoming a history teacher in a secondary school. Even today, I still think that would be quite a good and rewarding job to have. I do like history. I think like working in a school would be really rewarding in terms of like helping students and the new generation and being in a community of other teachers in a school. However, I think that there's a TV program in the UK called Educating Yorkshire, and they follow a school for a term, and you get an insight into what school is like. And I watched that like this year or last year, and I was like, nope,
It
looks
wasn't. It wasn't what
nope,
you hoped for, imagined.
way it looks way too stressful. And being a teacher in a secondary school isn't just being a teacher. There's like 100 other jobs in terms of like looking after the students and like a psychologist and social worker, and it just looks too stressful. So I don't think I'll do that. But I think, maybe I would have thought about being like a lecturer or doing it in a university, maybe. So doing a PhD. I've got a master's degree now, so maybe doing a PhD and becoming and working in a university looks way less stressful. But I also thought that there's so much admin, I think, involved with university work now that you have to just spend a lot of time doing papers and stuff, which isn't actually teaching or getting into the topic that you are actually teaching. So I
Mm,
don't know, but originally, not really. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, which is actually what led me to become an English teacher.
yes. So you already answered my second question. What was your initial plan? Because you went to university to study politics.
Yeah. Yeah. So I studied politics at university, and the first job that I applied for, I hadn't even finished university at this stage, but I went to university in Leeds, which is a city in the north of England, and a few of my three best friends there, who are my housemates, we were all considering staying in Leeds. Actually, one of them definitely wasn't, but there was a bit of a vague plan about staying in Leeds and continuing student life because we had such a good summer in 2018. Like, probably one of the best summers of my life. Everyone had finished university. It was just like fun and partying for like 2 months straight. And we're like, let's continue this. Obviously, it wouldn't continue because we would have had full time jobs, and you can't do that with full time jobs. But there was a vague plan to stay in Leeds, so I applied to work at the city council doing a graduate program, which I think would have been really boring. But at the time, I thought it was a good idea. It probably, was a good idea. If I did get the job, I didn't get the job, unfortunately. But maybe
Mm.
fortunately, because if I did get that job, I probably wouldn't be here now. Definitely wouldn't have moved to Spain, and I wouldn't have met you, Anna. So yeah, my life would have been completely different. My life would have been completely different if I had got that job. So thank you to
You
those
never
people.
know. You never know. Maybe you would get it and you wouldn't like it at all, and then it would, just go to the same direction.
Yeah, maybe I would have got it and then quit. And well, my other two friends didn't stay in Leeds either, so maybe I would have been in Leeds alone and been like, "What am I doing here?" and then done the same thing. But it's scary that my life could have had a completely different trajectory, and all it was based on was a person saying yes or no in accepting me for a job. So I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. So thank you to that
Yeah.
person who rejected me.
Sometimes it's good to be rejected.
Yeah, so that was my plan. It was to get like a job there, and then after I got rejected and the ideas of like living in Leeds fell through, and I moved back home with my parents. I was £2,000 into my overdraft because banks in the UK, they allow students to have a student bank account, which essentially is a normal bank account, but they give you a 0% £2,000 overdraft, which, as you can imagine, everyone spends because they're like, oh, £2,000 of free money and I don't have to pay this back for years. It's a bit manipulative, really. So I had spent all of that. So I was £2,000 in debt, not thinking about my student loan.
But
So I yeah.
it's not only like, as you said, no extra money to pay, but considering inflation, you actually gain some money
Yeah,
if you borrow this money.
yeah, inflation's not like too bad in the UK usually. It's been bad recently, but like then it was steady at like 2%, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay, then it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Then
It
it's
was it
different.
wasn't terrible. And most people, I think you have like a few years to pay it back, maybe like a year or two after you finish university, I'm not sure. But my primary goal was just to get a job and crawl out of debt. So yeah, I started working in a supermarket actually, doing night shifts, which I used to work in a supermarket while I was at university and before university, so I had that experience. I didn't really hate it, so when that job came along, I was just like, yeah, let's do this. Night shift pays more money as well. So yeah, I was doing that 3 or 4 times a week, and it was horrible. So I think I've talked about this previously, but yeah, doing night work, it's not good for you, and it definitely wasn't good for me. So I think also getting that job and being so miserable at that job made me really want to have a big change. Again, if I got a better job in my hometown, living with my parents, or if I started applying for graduate jobs afterwards in Manchester or another city or even in my hometown, then maybe my life would have been better to the point where I didn't want that big change. But sometimes, like that, like sometimes we need. Sometimes if our lives or a problem isn't bad enough, we just put up with it for a really long time. And sometimes we need it to get really bad for us to actually make a big change. This could be, a health problem. If you've got like if you get like a headache once a week and it's like a minor headache, that probably, might be a problem, but you might just take some painkillers and it goes away. If it was a migraine, then you'd be like, okay, I need to go to the doctor and get this sorted because it's so much of a problem. Or, if our job is, it's bad, but it's not worse enough, then it doesn't give us that motivation to change. So luckily working nights in a supermarket was terrible. So I was just like, I need a big change. So after I paid back my overdraft, I contacted my university about how I could do a fun and interesting job abroad. So I can't remember what your original question was. What was it? Did I have a plan?
Yeah,
No.
what was your but you already answered this question. You didn't have a specific plan in mind to
Yeah, no plan.
follow. So you just wanted to figure it out on the way.
Yep.
And yeah, it seems that it took a while.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's no linear next step after studying politics. If you study to be a teacher, you become a teacher. If you study to be an engineer, you become an engineer, a doctor, a doctor. With politics, there's not really an obvious next step. You could say a politician,
You
but
don't go become a politician once you graduate automatically.
Yeah, but yeah, you don't really see too many you don't see many 21-year-old politicians, to be honest. They're usually 50 or older. So yeah.
Yeah, I got it. So you went to your university and they said, here's
Yeah,
the option.
well, I don't know if it was actually during university, because I remember having an in-person meeting one or two times, like career guidance or something. So it might have been while like during that summer before I'd broken up, where maybe I wanted a backup plan. I can't imagine that I traveled all the way back up to Leeds from my hometown just to have an in-person meeting. So I must have done this before I finished in Leeds. But yeah, I just essentially said that I want to do something exciting. Or I think I said I wanted to work abroad. I just wanted
Hmm.
to work abroad and do something. So they said, yeah, teaching English was the best way to do that. And then we talked about different countries, what had like job opportunities, and there's loads of opportunities in Asia. So in like Japan and China, South Korea, maybe Vietnam as well. But these countries felt a little bit too far away. Like I didn't want that much
Hmm.
adventure. So Europe also seemed like a reasonable place. And yeah, they told me that Spain had loads of good opportunities. It's also sunny there, very close to the UK. So yeah, I landed on Spain. So
How many times have you been to Spain before you?
like seven, I think.
Okay.
There was a period in my family's life where we kept on going back to Majorca and Menorca on holiday.
Hmm.
So we'd go on like a package holiday to these places like every year for quite a few years. So loads, but not really to the mainland Spain. I hadn't been to Madrid or Barcelona or Valencia or any of the main cities. It was mostly just like holiday places.
Hmm. Did you already manage to pick up on the language a little? Like, did you understand some of the language? Because I'm curious. I know you learned some Spanish, but have you ever made it to like be able to hold a conversation?
I could have very basic conversations in Spain in Spanish when I was there,
Okay.
but by the time uh, when I arrived, I knew nothing, probably like 10 words. So
Wow.
I was really
Wow.
going in the deep end.
So, you taught in like a regular school, or you taught like
Yeah.
kids?
Yeah. So while I was, I, you can't, you need qualifications to teach. So I was doing research on how I could get a TEFL certificate. And I did an online training course through like a TEFL website first. I wasn't really paying much attention to it. I was like skipping through it, and it was just like online modules, and you could there was quizzes at the end of each module, and you could just use common sense to kind of like guess, like if a student is doing this, and it's like you can just guess really. You don't really need to do any of the, and it was really boring. But I didn't really feel, and I passed it. I had technically a qualification, but I didn't really feel like that gave
Prepared.
me, yeah, it didn't
Hmm.
really prepare me for real teaching. So I found a academy in Madrid, which was like a 4 week intensive course, and I paid like maybe like £1,000, I think, to get this qualification. I think it was around that. It was quite a lot of money. But it was 4 week, it was intensive, it was 120 hours. It also gave you experience teaching as well. And this was really good. And I thought it'd be like the perfect kind of like thing to settle me into Madrid, because it was probably like, I don't know, like 10 o'clock in the morning until 2 p.m. every day, like Monday to Friday for 4 weeks. And it kind of gave me some structure to the first 4 weeks I was there. They would help me find a job as well. They'd help me with my like teaching
Hmm.
CV, and I would be with people who were probably also new to the country and also city. So it gave me some
So,
structure and gave me like some network, which was nice. So I did that. That was fun. That was good. I enjoyed that. Like the owners were quite strange. There's loads of drama going on at the time with the teacher trainer and like yeah the owner. I don't know, and the admin lady. Like there's just loads of drama. Like it was really weird for a few days. We didn't know what was going on, but yeah, and then we did some practice classes with students, which was quite good. I had to learn what English grammar was, because I didn't have, like, I could speak grammatically correctly, but I didn't know the rules.
hmm,
So we had to
how to
learn grammar.
explain it?
We literally had to learn grammar, which is quite funny. And we had to do a grammar test to make sure that we had passed. But I think I got 90 out of 100 on that. So even my grammar isn't perfect as an a native English speaker, but Yeah, that was really good. Really, I felt prepared after that. They helped me do a CV, and then I was applying for jobs. And yeah, there was a company called BEDA. I don't Beda, I don't know. And they are like a Catholic school program, and they get native speakers and English teachers into these Catholic schools. And there's a program where you work 25 hours a week, like 24 maybe, and half of the hours are you assisting a teacher, and half of the hours are you doing like independent classes. So I got put into a school in the north of Madrid, in the city centre, and I got an apartment there as well. So that was my first. Yeah, it was with like 8-year-olds, I think 7 and 8-year-olds for 6 months, which was yeah entertaining.
How was it? Yeah, I would be curious. How do you manage kids these days?
Yeah, they were actually just really fun to interact with, and like I'd be like friends with them, and sometimes like, they'd like see me outside in the corridor and stuff, and then give me a little fist bump, and they'd be like, "Oh, Sam," and like I was friends with loads of them, so it was really fun, and they were like so cute and like fun to interact with. But I enjoyed being the teaching assistant. Didn't particularly enjoy like doing the independent classes because the teachers didn't really care what I did. They didn't really care if I taught them English. They just enjoyed me taking half their class away for an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of the situation. So it was more about like entertaining them in English. So I'd like, I don't know, do videos and games and stuff. And there wasn't really too much structure. They didn't really help me with doing like lesson planning and stuff. I didn't really know what to teach them. But yeah, I enjoyed being a teaching assistant, not really teaching them because there was like 14 kids in a room. Only a few of them spoke like good English, so and I didn't really speak much Spanish, and I wasn't allowed to speak Spanish to them, so I had to control them and entertain them, and they were, and the school was also quite well known or famous for accepting kids who had been kicked out of other schools. So each class had a few naughty kids, which were yeah difficult to control. And every week they'd get sent out my class for being too disruptive. And the following the week, the teacher was like, "Oh, try again." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, for the last 10 weeks, I've had to send them out, and yeah, they wouldn't care. They're like, "Yep, take them. I don't want him." So yeah,
Oh my. Oh
but yeah, it was
my.
fun. I enjoyed it. It was
Was there anything that really surprised you? Like you had some expectation probably after this course, this intensive course preparing you to be a teacher. Was there anything that really surprised you when you started teaching?
Um, to be honest, like I don't really see myself much as a teacher there. In terms of being a teaching assistant, like they would have like a program and a structure, and they'd be following a textbook and like an exercise book, and because it's for 7-year-olds, I could just intuitively help them. And it's mostly like vocab stuff, so it's like items of clothing and animals and colors and all this stuff. So that was just really easy. I'd just like sit on a table and float around the class and help the students that needed extra help. In terms of the teaching, I don't really think that I was like teaching then, if you know what I mean. I was just like standing in a class and doing like some exercises in English. I did have a few private students who I was like actually teaching English to, so that was a little bit different. But if I think about my job now, where I'm really directly helping people improve their English, it's so much different than it was just like
Mm,
I'm just communicating to kids in English, which is very different to what I do now.
oh, you have to consider that they were kids and like they were small.
Oh yeah,
And I think that this is one of the main like rules for kids to make learning or like the learning process effective. You have to make it fun and like playful.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
there is also this like expression of teaching through teaching through like play or something like this.
Hmm.
So I guess that that was teaching at that point for
Yeah,
these kids.
yeah.
Definitely.
They just needed exposure to. They wanted a native speaker, but just exposure to listening to English and also kind of like using English. So I guess I did do that, but it wasn't really teaching. I guess it was, but like you said, in a different way.
I guess it was. I guess it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Um, I had a thought. What was that? Mm. Oh, was there any like particular difficulty that they struggled with? Like you tried to show them something and because of maybe the language, like the specific Spanish language, maybe there was something that they really couldn't get or like really struggled to get.
Um, I can't really remember anything to be honest. They weren't really doing anything too complex at 6 or 7, so I can't really remember something
There's some
that stands
some
out.
some like
It
maybe.
was just focus really because some of the kids just struggle to focus regardless of
Hmm.
what subject they're in probably, and having to do that in English when they're not in a good mood or they're tired or they're hungry and stuff was difficult. So I think that that was probably the most difficult thing. It's just focusing.
Yeah, I was thinking more mm, like some lacks in pronunciation, for example, like common for Spanish speakers in
Yeah,
a
I
way.
can't really think of anything that the kids struggled with really. I can't, yeah, they weren't really using that much English. It was just like filling in textbooks and correct choosing the right kind of like drawing a
Mm,
line from the scarf to the word scarf. So it wasn't actually,
mm-hmm.
yeah, they weren't really like speaking English that much.
See, I see.
So yeah, I can't really think of that. I think.
And how long were you has you been working in the school?
I was there for 6 months. So I started in January, I think, and maybe yeah January, and I finished in the summer. So I wasn't even there 6 months in the school, but I was there for half a term, I guess. But I was in Madrid for 6 months total. So in June or July, I moved to Valencia. So yeah, I
Why
wasn't
was
there long.
that? Why
I
was
don't
that?
know. I don't know. I just heard it was good. Wanted to change. Wanted to be near the beach. I don't really know why I moved to Valencia because I was enjoying living in Madrid, but I just felt like I had been there 6 months and I wanted to do some like kind of like move on and
Some
do something
difference.
different. Yeah. So I was in Spain, wanted to explore a bit. So heard good things about Valencia. So I yeah just intuitively and not like using my gut just made the decision to go. And that's when actually one of my best friends like joined me out there. So I lived with him in Valencia, and also I lived with a yeah another English teacher actually.
With another English teacher, actually, you said.
Yeah.
So there were three of you.
Yeah, I think he actually started teaching English. My friend actually started teaching on Preply during that time as well. So I think all three of us were English teachers.
Three English teachers in one flat,
Yeah,
in one apartment. A very high concentration of
yeah,
English
of English
teachers.
teachers exactly. So
So how was it? Did you interact with your neighbors a lot?
I think I like spoke to them, but we had COVID during that time in Valencia, so on the balconies we would. But yeah, I don't know. We weren't like good friends, but we'd say hello in the corridors and stuff. But yeah, Valencia was different because I was working in a college. So this time I was working with 16 to 20-year-olds who weren't going to
Mm-hmm.
university, who needed extra vocational training before they tried to get a job. So English was part of that. And yeah, I was helping them. And this was better because I could actually have real conversations with them in English, but because they're teenagers, they're kind of like shy and they don't want to they don't want to embarrass themselves and they don't want to look stupid speaking English and making mistakes. So and there was so much disparity in terms of the level. So some people at the age of 18 could speak English
Mm-hmm.
quite well, and some just didn't speak English at all. So it's really difficult, kind of like planning for lessons and stuff there, because you
How to
can't
adapt
really,
to all of them?
yeah, you can't really work at the same level. So that was quite tough, but yeah, more enjoyable working with actual, people I could speak with and have more complex conversations with. But yeah, I just felt a little bit more uncomfortable there because it was less structured, and it's kind of just like a weirder, more intense environment in the staff room, and like my role was more ambiguous there, and yeah, it's just a bit weirder. So I prefer teaching in Madrid, I think, in the actual school rather than the college. But
Because of the structure.
yeah, just because I don't know, like it was the system or what was expected of me was very systematized in Madrid. So it was I have this class with this teacher, and on that class on Tuesday I would take half the class, and in the college in Valencia it would just like turn up and see what happens, and I would.
Oh,
And it's just like, yeah, a wide range of different students, and different teachers expected different things of me, and sometimes I wasn't required at all. But then when COVID happened, I couldn't go into college because they closed it down, and they continued to pay me while I sat at home and did absolutely nothing. So
really?
I was really happy with that because my housemate, who was teaching in a school at that time, he was teaching kids and he was teaching online every day. And his school
Yeah.
required him to kind of like do online classes, and all 30 kids would be in a Zoom call or something. And he would have to, I could hear him in his room, and he was losing the will to live day by day.
Oh
You
no,
could just hear
no.
his voice in his room, and he would like be so frustrated, like near the end of the day. And I had just like played on my Xbox and drank beers on the balcony all day. And
He had to be even more annoyed and, poor him looking
yeah,
at you, drinking your beers and playing whatever.
yeah. So I was not jealous of him. I had really good setup. They paid me for like 3 or 4, yeah, probably a few months. When did COVID really start kick off? Was it like March, I think?
Mm-hmm.
March 2020, February, March. Yeah, so I think they paid me from March until May, something like that, or June, before the school, yeah, finished. Um, I didn't do anything. It was great. She did nothing.
That's amazing. And
That's when I
Spain.
started teaching online, actually, because I was like, okay, I'm an English teacher, and I'm not doing anything. Let's try and earn some extra money. So the first job I had online was actually for this Chinese company who was trying to create like a TikTok, but for English content, where they hired people to make short form content in English. And that was my first job, and I was on like a trial there, and yeah, I didn't get accepted. And also my housemate did it as well, and he didn't get accepted either. They were looking for like very energetic, kind of like influencer type people to make content in English, which
Mm.
I didn't have that in my locker at that stage. I don't know if I do now. So yeah, that was my first kind of like online job, and then I just started teaching on Preply, and that's how my Preply career began. So yeah.
Do you have any funny stories from your experience with Preply, with people?
Mm, I don't know if I have like anything super stand out, but no, not like I can't really think of anything which is like super funny. But yeah, I've taught on there for like 5 years consistently. Like I've only just, yeah. So I've taught so many people on there, like from all over the world. But
Have you count?
no, there's definitely over 100. But yeah, people literally from all walks of life, like we had in it one of the first episodes when I was talking about some of the more famous people that I've taught on there. But yeah, just people from literally so many different countries from all over the world doing so many different jobs. But your kind of like profile gets popular in a specific country at a time. So my profile first got popular in like Saudi Arabia. So I
Mm-hmm.
was teaching like Saudi Arabian women for ages. Like for the first like 6 weeks, I had like 5 or 6 like Saudi Arabian women, and I was like, "This is strange." I was like, "These are the only people on the on the platform." But then, and then my profile got popular in Italy, and then it was Poland actually for a period of time. But yeah,
So, what did you notice, like comparing your students from different countries, from the different backgrounds? Um,
mm,
I'm curious, like how to put it? What are the patterns that you noticed? What they struggle with when they try to learn English?
um, what depending on their country.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really remember now, to be honest. But lots of like Saudi Arabian women just didn't really have much experience speaking, so they just needed to kind of like be in a safe space where they can practice speaking to someone. Can't really remember the other specific patterns, to be honest. And I can remember like some pronunciation things,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I can't really remember anything specific. I don't think it's that unique, to be honest. Like there will be specific problems that people have in terms of pronunciation, but most of the time it's just they need more practice, to be honest, and a bit of feedback.
Any funny mispronunciations?
Sorry, I've got nothing. I've got nothing concrete or specific. Like it's such a long time ago. Like I turned my profile off like 2 years ago. So yeah.
I remember being like very uncomfortable with so many English words that read kind of similar
Hmm.
and mean something very different, and some of them quite vulgar, or like
Okay.
swear words. And I
Okay.
was like, what if I mispronounce this word and people think that I'm swearing? And
Like ship or sheep or beach.
yes, like
Okay. Yeah.
bitch,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I think if people have that problem. That's quite funny though.
How often do you hear people saying these like swear words, like saying these
Accidentally.
swear words, and you have to? I'm guessing you understand what they wanted to say,
Oh yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
pretend
Yeah.
they didn't mispronounce this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, not that often because people don't really say ship that often or sheep. Beach is a little bit more common, but I think people struggle with ship more. No, they don't, I don't know. Beach. Yeah. Yeah. It's a funny mistake to have to make, but it's not the end of the world. Like if someone says it, you can just gently try to correct them, but it's not the worst swear word in the world. If it was one of the other ones, then it would be completely different, and maybe it would need a bit more of a heavy correction. But I think with beach, you're okay.
Okay, it's not that often said word, really, most of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
time. Well, in
Ship, beach.
summertime.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, but not the most common word.
Sorry, no.
Not the most common words to use.
Yeah. So over 100 students on Preply.
Yeah, loads. So yeah, that's when I started because I stopped teaching English in person from since COVID. So I literally have not taught an English class in person since 2020. I think. Have I seen anyone? Maybe I've done one in person. I don't think I have. I don't think I've done one in the UK. So yeah, my in person experience is actually not that big. mostly like in schools and colleges, and then a few private students as well. But yeah, since 2020, all of my teaching has been done online. So I've got loads of experience teaching online, but hardly any in person. I find it really weird teaching in person now, or like standing in front of a classroom doing it. But yeah,
I
strange.
think it's much less efficient, really, or less effective. Like, um, well, if you combine all the effort from, and the effect on each person, maybe it's more. But
Yeah,
I think that you can achieve much more teaching one-on-one.
yeah, it's just easier. Like if someone lived down my road and they wanted English classes, that would be fine. But if you're living in a different country, then it's a lot more convenient to find a tutor who doesn't live in your local area, because you've got more choice, so you can find a better pick for you. But yeah, so that's when I started teaching on Preply, and just like that was like my main job, because like when I came back to the UK, I was doing a master's degree part time, so I was keeping myself afloat financially by teaching on Preply as well. So and then I finished my master's degree in politics. And I was looking at politics jobs again. And I thought all of these looks really boring. I was like, I actually really enjoy my job. Let's try and continue doing this. And here I am now. So yeah, that's the story really, but very unexpected. Will I ever? I do use my politics degrees, and I think it does help with. Not technically, but I think it does help with some students who kind of maybe they really enjoy politics, or but yeah, I don't need a politics degree. I needed a degree to actually start teaching English for the first job I had in Madrid. I needed a degree, not a politics degree, but a degree. So it helped me get that original job, and I think it does add some, like, I don't know. I'm more qualified. I don't know, but yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll get a job in politics in the future. But for now, I'm pretty happy as an English teacher. But that's it. Yeah, very strange. 7 years later.
7 years. Uh, well, maybe it helps you to understand like the reality of other countries, like how people live, and I think that's how they are governed makes a big difference.
Yeah, but I don't think I need a degree for that.
No, you don't.
No, but it adds some quality. Like I've had people on Preply contact me before in the past because I've got a politics degree and they are involved in politics somehow, or they are really interested in politics and they kind of like talking about politics. Or one of the community members I'm helping at the moment is a history researcher, and because I have a politics degree, that kind of just like helps me understand. But I could just be a history nerd and just read loads of history books, and that would be exactly the same. But I don't know, having a degree or a master's degree just adds a little bit of a. I can't think of the right word here.
Like authority, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. Who knows?
Well, you
To be
should
honest,
know.
like I feel like with most degrees, especially bachelor's degrees, you don't really learn anything too practical for a job. Maybe in some specific jobs like medicine or engineering, but most degrees are essentially just a certificate saying that you can show up on time enough and learn and read, be able to read and write and remember things for 3 years, and you're able to do that. So here is a degree saying that. Like, I think that's what most of it really is.
Yes, you always absorb some knowledge that is like
Yes.
very basic, but probably
Yes.
you could do it probably within a year if if you really study. When I think about my university, my studies, I think that most of the things that I really needed, I could I could make it within, like, learn it within maybe a year, maybe 2 years. Definitely not 5 years needed.
5.
5 years,
Wow,
yes.
that's a long time. All the university degrees in the UK are 3 years, apart from medicine or
Master's
architecture for
degree?
some
You get
reason.
a master's degree within 3 years?
You do a master's degree in 1 year.
From the start, no.
Oh, you do a bachelor's degree is 3 years,
Yep.
and then a master's degree is 1 year.
Oh, so it's like 3.5 and 1.5, or something like five combined to get a master's degree.
Oh, for you?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I see. Yeah, that's a long time, isn't it?
It is a lot of time.
Okay, Anna, do you have any other questions about my English teacher journey? I haven't really been able to give you any funny stories or specific problems, unfortunately, but
It was fun enough. I think it was very authentic.
thank you.
Quite a journey.
Yeah, a weird journey. Not really like planned, just following my intuition. So that's how I've ended up here, really.
Nice. Nice. And then to sum it up, you decided to teach more and more people to start a community.
Yeah, so yeah, I was teaching on Preply, and I had my. It's kind of like quite stupid, really. I think I had my like highest earning month ever, and I was like, I want to change. I want to change. It was literally like right after I earned the most amount of money, and at that time, I was renting an office in Salford Quays in Manchester, which was like quite expensive actually. And then yeah, after that, I was just well, actually, I after I finished my master's degree, and I decided I want to turn my tutoring more into a business. I did a business course, which was for like ESL teachers, so English as a second language, or people that are involved in that. So that maybe they're teacher trainers, or maybe they're an author or something. So I did a business course to help me understand more business and try to earn more money and work less, I think was the tagline of the course. I was like, that sounds good. So yeah, after that, I was kind of thinking a little bit more about how do I transition from teaching on Preply to having my own type of like business. And I was like having ideas, and my ideas originally were so bad, so bad. like like you just see my first logo that I made, and my first name was terrible. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I've got loads of speaking exercises that I do with my students. I'll just put them on PDFs and I'll sell them and I'll make loads of money. I'm just like, yeah, that was a terrible idea.
Now with AI, I think that they can
Yes,
generate such things like within
exactly.
seconds.
So yeah, after that business course, it kind of like gently pushed me in the right area, and then yeah, then I wanted to start making content on YouTube. Didn't really know what I wanted to do though, so I yeah ended up on making a community. So that's where I'm at now. But I'm still teaching people privately, but definitely fewer people. Before it'd be like 25, sometimes 30 hours a week, and it's just too many one-on-one calls. I was just really socially tired at the end. So I think that's what spurred on my desire for a change more than anything. It was just like I can't keep doing this because I'm socially exhausted at the end of each week. So I want to stop doing as many calls. So that's what kind of like spurred it on the change.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Anything
Thank you
else, or
for
should we
sharing.
finish it there?
Uh, well, I guess you went through the whole story with quite a lot of detail.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think if I missed anything out. No, not really. That was it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
No
Thank
worries,
you for
Anna. Thank you
sharing.
for asking your questions. Hopefully, it was not too boring. Quite a strange journey, but thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.